Have you ever wished your emotions didn't rule your day, didn't hijack your peace at every turn? What if ancient Buddhist teachings held simple tools, not theories, but real practices that anyone can use to stay calm, even in chaos? And what if the path to emotional balance wasn't about changing who you are, but about seeing what's always been within you? In a world where emotions can flip in seconds, one moment calm, the next overwhelmed, it's easy to feel like we're being tossed around by life. Finding a sense of peace inside ourselves often feels like trying to stay still in the middle of a storm. But there is a gentle, enduring wisdom in Buddhism that quietly reminds us, peace isn't out there somewhere. It begins within. And it's not just for Buddhists. This journey isn't about belief systems. It's about understanding. It's about reconnecting with our inner stability in a world full of noise, opinions, and endless emotional triggers. So let's begin together, right where you are. Picture this: a day when you're not constantly reacting, when anger doesn't flare without warning, when fear doesn't cloud your thinking, when sadness doesn't pull you into silence. Imagine facing life's curveballs with a steady heart, a clear mind, and a sense of quiet confidence. That's the promise of emotional mastery. Not perfection, but presence. Not escape, but resilience. Sounds impossible. It's not. And no, this isn't some magical cure that makes pain disappear. What we're talking about is something real. Practical tools rooted in ancient wisdom, tools that work in real life for parents, students, workers, and anyone navigating the highs and lows of human experience. And if this message resonates with you, even a little, please like and share this video. It helps us reach more people, and the YouTube algorithm listens when you do. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Only 8.5% of viewers are subscribed, and your support helps us grow this mindful community. Now, let's explore the first key teaching in Buddhism that helps us handle emotions more wisely: impermanence. In Pali, it's called anicca, the simple but powerful truth that nothing lasts forever. Every emotion we feel, joy, sorrow, fear, anger, is temporary. Just like the weather, our emotional state is always shifting. Sunny today, stormy tomorrow, then calm again. And that's okay. Understanding this helps us soften our grip. We stop clinging to pleasant emotions or fighting the painful ones. We learn to ride the waves instead of being pulled under. But how do we actually live this out? The answer lies in mindfulness. It's the art of noticing, of being fully present. When we train ourselves to observe what we're feeling without rushing to label it as good or bad, we create space. And in that space, something powerful happens. We begin to respond with intention, rather than react on autopilot. The best part? You don't need to meditate for hours on a mountain to do this. It can start right now. Take one mindful breath. Notice how your chest rises and falls. Feel the ground under your feet. These small moments are the doorway to greater emotional strength. Whether you're juggling deadlines, managing children, or just trying to stay afloat, this path is for you. It's open, simple, and incredibly powerful. This realization of impermanence is not just a philosophical idea. It's a shift in perspective that can truly change how we relate to every emotion we feel. Instead of clinging tightly to joy or rejecting pain, Buddhism encourages us to take a step back, to observe, to acknowledge, and most importantly, to let go. This doesn't mean ignoring our emotions, but meeting them with awareness and kindness. The gateway to this transformation is mindful awareness, being fully present with what arises in each moment. And not just present, but present with openness, with curiosity, and with a sense of acceptance. When we allow ourselves to see emotions for what they are, fleeting visitors, not permanent residents, we begin to loosen the grip they have on us. Through mindfulness meditation, we train the mind to witness rather than react. We notice the subtle rise of a thought, the tightening of the chest when anxiety surfaces, the warmth or tension in our body when a memory triggers sadness or anger. With practice, we watch all of this unfold, without clinging, without pushing away. It's like sitting on the shore watching the tide roll in. Some waves are gentle, others crash loudly. But we learn not to chase them or flee from them. We simply watch. And in that space of stillness, a deeper calm arises. Buddhism often compares emotions to ripples on the surface of the ocean, temporary disturbances on a vast and steady depth of being. Beneath those ripples, beneath the fear, the anger, the longing, there is always a quiet, expansive awareness. When we learn to return to that inner stillness, we're no longer thrown around by every emotional surge. We can ride the waves with steadiness and clarity. But let's be honest, some waves feel like storms. What about emotions that grip us tightly, like anger, fear, or grief? Buddhism doesn't treat these as enemies. Instead, it sees them as natural parts of the human condition. Just like heavy clouds passing over the sky, these difficult emotions may block our inner light, but they are never the sky itself. The key is not resistance, but understanding. Instead of suppressing or running away, we're invited to turn toward these emotions with compassion and curiosity. What is this anger protecting? What story is fear trying to tell me? What wound is sadness pointing to? This gentle turning inward is not always easy, but it is powerful. Through self-inquiry and reflection, we begin to see the web of thoughts, memories, and beliefs that feed our emotional patterns. Over time, we begin to untangle them. We recognize old conditioning. We interrupt automatic reactions. And with that, we begin to reclaim our freedom. Buddhism doesn't ask us to rise above our emotions or pretend we're not feeling them. Quite the opposite. It teaches us to fully embrace them with wisdom, with presence, with love. And from that place of mindful clarity, something beautiful emerges. Equanimity, the ability to stay grounded no matter what life throws our way. So what does this look like in daily life? It could be as simple as pausing when frustration arises, taking a breath and choosing not to snap, or sitting with sorrow without needing to fix it. These small choices, repeated, build a new kind of strength. One of the most powerful gifts of meditation is the cultivation of equanimity, a calm steadiness of mind that doesn't rise and fall with every passing emotion. And at the heart of this, again, is mindfulness, the gentle practice of paying attention to the present moment with openness, curiosity, and a willingness to be with whatever is. In mindfulness meditation, we often begin by anchoring our awareness in something simple, like the breath moving in and out, the feeling of our body sitting, or the quiet sounds around us. It seems easy on the surface, but very quickly, the mind begins to wander. Thoughts arise, emotions bubble up. Memories, plans, worries, they all show up, pulling us away from the present moment. But here's where the transformation happens. Instead of fighting those distractions or judging ourselves, we gently notice them. Then we return to the breath, again and again, with kindness, with patience. This process, repeated over time, trains the mind to become more resilient. We learn to witness rather than react, to stay grounded rather than be swept away. It's like watching clouds drift across the sky. You see them, you let them pass, and you come back to the stillness beneath. Over time, this simple act of returning builds an inner strength that shows up even outside of meditation. When life throws chaos our way, we're less shaken. We respond with awareness rather than react out of habit. Another practice that supports equanimity in a profound way is loving kindness meditation, or metta bhavana in the Buddhist tradition. In this meditation, we silently repeat phrases of goodwill, starting with ourselves. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I live with ease. Then we gradually extend these wishes outward to a loved one, to a stranger, even to someone we find difficult, until eventually our intention of kindness embraces all beings. This practice opens the heart. It dissolves walls. It reminds us that every person carries their own joys and struggles. By cultivating love and compassion, not just for ourselves, but for others too, we become less entangled in our own stories and more able to meet life with grace and spaciousness. But equanimity isn't something we leave on the meditation cushion. The real magic happens when we bring mindfulness into everyday life. Whether we're doing the dishes, waiting in traffic, walking through a park, or speaking with someone we care about, these are the moments where equanimity takes root. Instead of rushing through, we slow down. We listen deeply. We breathe. And in that presence, even the ordinary becomes a doorway to peace. In essence, cultivating equanimity is about opening fully to the present moment, whether it's joyful or painful, and learning to stay steady through it all. Over time, this practice reveals a deep, unshakable sense of peace that doesn't depend on what's happening around us. It's not about escaping life's ups and downs. It's about riding them with wisdom, with compassion, and with a quiet strength that grows from within. Now, we move into one of the most transformative teachings in Buddhism, the practice of letting go of attachment. So much of our suffering begins with clinging. We cling to people, to outcomes, to our image of how things should be. We tell ourselves, if only I had this, I would be happy. Or, if I lose this, I'll fall apart. But life, by its very nature, changes. It flows. And what we cling to often slips right through our fingers, like sand we try too hard to hold. In Buddhism, this habit of holding on is called attachment, and it's seen as one of the root causes of suffering. We attach ourselves to what is impermanent, believing it can give us lasting satisfaction. But like chasing a reflection in water, the more tightly we grasp, the more peace eludes us. Does this mean we have to give up everything and live alone on a mountaintop? Absolutely not. Non-attachment, or nekkhamma, does not mean withdrawal from life. It's not coldness. It's not indifference. Instead, it means engaging with life fully, but without the inner chains of expectation or dependency. It's the freedom to care deeply without clinging tightly, to act with love without needing control. Letting go begins with mindfulness, the ability to see clearly what's happening inside us as it's happening. When we sit in meditation and watch our thoughts rise and fall, we begin to notice how often they're fueled by desire or fear. I want this. I need that. What if I lose it? We begin to see the patterns, and in seeing them, we create the possibility of softening them. That's the magic of mindfulness. It gives us space. And in that space, we begin to notice the subtle clinging that shows up in even the smallest moments. But mindfulness alone isn't enough. We also need wisdom, the insight to see things as they truly are. Through the practice of vipassana, or insight meditation, we start observing the changing, interconnected nature of all things. We see that nothing, not even our own identity, is fixed or independent. This is not meant to unsettle us, it's meant to set us free. Slowly, we loosen the tight knot of ego and begin to open ourselves to something deeper than control: acceptance. We learn to let life unfold, moment by moment, with trust. We let go of the illusion that happiness comes from getting what we want, and we begin to discover that peace comes from not needing anything to be different. Letting go of attachment does not mean denying emotions or pretending we don't care. It means we no longer let our desires own us. We can feel joy without fearing its loss. We can grieve without being shattered. We can love fully and freely without needing to possess. It's like watching a beautiful sunset. You don't try to hold it. You simply witness it with awe, knowing it will pass. And somehow, that knowing makes it even more precious. In the end, letting go is not about becoming less human. It's about becoming more free. With each step, we shed a little more of what binds us. And in that space, we find something extraordinary, a quiet joy that no condition can take away. After exploring the transformative power of letting go, we now arrive at one of the most radiant and healing forces in the Buddhist path: compassion. If non-attachment sets us free from clinging, then compassion reconnects us to ourselves, to others, and to the deep truth of our shared humanity. At the heart of cultivating compassion is the practice known as loving kindness meditation, or metta bhavana. In this meditation, we intentionally direct gentle thoughts of goodwill, care, and benevolence. We begin by offering kind wishes to ourselves. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be at ease. And then gradually widen the circle to someone we love, to someone neutral, to someone we find difficult, and finally, to all beings everywhere. This simple yet profound practice softens the heart. With each repetition, we water the seeds of empathy and connection. We begin to feel, not just intellectually but deeply in our hearts, that no one lives untouched by suffering, and that everyone, at their core, longs for the same thing: peace, joy, and safety. When we generate compassion, we create a bridge that transcends the illusion of separation. The boundaries of me and them begin to dissolve. We feel a sense of belonging to something greater than ourselves, a web of life that holds us all. But compassion is not just a feel-good emotion. It is also a source of great resilience. Life is unpredictable. Pain and adversity are inevitable. But it is often our capacity for compassion, especially in difficult times, that sustains us. When we are kind to ourselves instead of critical, when we meet our pain with patience rather than resistance, we find an inner strength that no external circumstance can take away. We begin to understand that being human means to fall, to grieve, to struggle. And in those moments, instead of turning inward with blame or shame, we turn inward with tenderness. We say to ourselves, "This is hard, and I'm still worthy of love." That shift changes everything. This same compassion also extends outward. When someone we care about is suffering, we offer support, not because we have the perfect words or solutions, but because we recognize their pain as familiar. In that act of reaching out, we create a moment of shared humanity. And in doing so, we uplift not only them, but ourselves. Through compassion, we find meaning in pain. We discover that healing doesn't always mean fixing something. It often means simply being with it, fully present, without turning away. And as we practice this again and again, our compassion becomes like a deep well, available not only when things are easy, but especially when they are not. In essence, compassion and emotional resilience go hand in hand. They feed each other. The more we nurture compassion, the stronger we become. And the stronger we grow in resilience, the more open we become to love, not just for others, but for ourselves. Compassion doesn't make us fragile. It makes us whole. As we walk the path of emotional mastery, one of the first inner challenges we often meet is self-judgment. We hold ourselves to impossible standards. We criticize ourselves for not doing better, not being calm enough, mindful enough, or kind enough. But what if, instead of turning inward with blame, we treated ourselves like we would a dear friend in pain? When a close friend is struggling, we don't scold them. We offer warmth, patience, and understanding. That same kindness, when turned inward, becomes self-compassion. It means recognizing that our flaws don't make us unworthy, that even when we feel broken, we are still deserving of love and care, exactly as we are, not some future version of who we think we should be. Another common barrier on this path is our resistance to change. Even when we clearly see that a habit, pattern, or relationship is no longer serving us, we may still cling to it. Why? Because it feels familiar. Because the unknown is scary. Because stepping into change often brings discomfort before it brings growth. But Buddhism reminds us that impermanence is a law of life. Everything changes, our emotions, our relationships, even our very identity. Clinging to what was, or even what is, only brings suffering. When we resist change, we resist life itself. So how do we begin to move with change instead of fighting it? By cultivating a mindset of openness and adaptability. When we view change not as a threat, but as a natural unfolding of life, we learn to bend rather than break. Like a tree swaying with the wind, we become flexible, resilient, and alive. We discover that the discomfort of change is often a sign that we're growing, stretching beyond old limitations into new possibilities. Of course, not all obstacles are internal. Life will throw challenges our way, stressful events, broken relationships, societal expectations that push us off-center. In those moments, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, easy to think, what's the point of trying? But it's in these very moments, when life feels hardest, that our practice becomes most powerful. When we return to mindfulness, compassion, and breath, we find something steady within the storm. We may still stumble, we may fall, but every time we get back up, we grow. Every time we breathe through the difficulty instead of running from it, we become stronger. True growth doesn't mean avoiding the mess. It means walking through it with courage. It means holding pain in one hand and compassion in the other. It means trusting that every setback is also a step forward if we let it be. In truth, overcoming obstacles is not about achieving perfection or controlling life. It's about embracing the journey itself, with all its chaos, beauty, and unpredictability. It's about showing up for ourselves again and again, even when it's hard. Because in every obstacle lies an opportunity, a chance to understand ourselves more deeply, to soften where we once hardened, to awaken to what we're truly capable of. After reflecting on the challenges we face along the path, we now return to a central truth that both humbles and frees us. Everything is impermanent. Embracing this truth is not about giving up, but about learning how to live more fully, with open hands and an open heart. When we truly begin to understand impermanence, we are released from the tight grip of attachment and aversion that so often binds us to suffering. We stop trying to freeze life in place. We stop resisting what must change. And in that surrender, we find unexpected peace. One of the most powerful tools for embracing impermanence is mindfulness. Through mindfulness, we learn to meet each moment as it is, without clinging to what feels good or pushing away what feels uncomfortable. We observe the ever-changing river of thoughts, sensations, and emotions without needing to control its direction. In mindfulness meditation, we practice returning again and again to the present moment. As we sit quietly, thoughts arise and pass, emotions swell and fade, sensations come and go. The mind wanders, and we gently bring it back, over and over. This repeated returning builds a kind of quiet wisdom in us. And with this awareness, something shifts. We begin to see that we don't have to ride every wave. We don't have to believe every story our mind tells us. We don't have to grip life so tightly. Instead, we can rest in a more spacious awareness, one that witnesses the impermanence of all things without being consumed by them. But this isn't about becoming detached or indifferent. In fact, the more we embrace impermanence, the more vividly we begin to experience life. Knowing that nothing lasts forever makes each moment more precious. A quiet conversation, a warm cup of tea, a single sunrise, they all take on new depth when we understand they won't be here forever. Rather than fearing change, we begin to move with it. We loosen our grip. We let go of the exhausting need to control. And in doing so, we begin to feel a lightness, a freedom, as if a great weight has been lifted. Embracing impermanence doesn't mean we won't feel pain or loss. It means we're no longer defined by it. It means we can walk through change with grace instead of fear. It's about learning to flow with the rhythm of life, the rising and falling, the blooming and fading, the arriving and departing. By cultivating mindfulness, wisdom, and compassion, we become more resilient in the face of life's uncertainties. We learn to greet each moment, pleasant or painful, with an open heart. And in doing so, we open ourselves to the beauty of what is, rather than clinging to what was. So how does this understanding help us when we're caught in emotional storms, when fear, anger, or sadness seem to overwhelm us? We learned how embracing impermanence frees us from clinging and opens us to the present. But what about the emotions that seem to grip us the hardest? What do we do when sadness, anger, or fear clouds our awareness and overwhelms our hearts? Rather than rejecting these feelings or trying to push them away, Buddhism teaches us to turn toward them with mindfulness, compassion, and curiosity. Mindfulness, as always, is the foundation. When we practice being present, we begin to see that emotions are not permanent truths. They rise, they pass, and though they can feel intense in the moment, they don't define who we are. A thought like, "I'm a failure," is just that, a thought, not reality, not identity. Through mindfulness meditation, we observe these emotional waves without drowning in them. We sit with the raw energy of sadness. We feel the tension of anger in the body. We notice how fear tightens the breath. We name these feelings gently. This is anger. This is anxiety. And with each mindful breath, we loosen their grip. But mindfulness alone is only the beginning. To truly transform negative emotions, we also need compassion, especially toward ourselves. So often, when we feel something uncomfortable, we immediately judge it. I shouldn't feel this way. What's wrong with me? But these inner reactions only add another layer of pain. Instead, we can choose to respond with kindness. This is hard, and it's okay to feel this. Imagine a close friend coming to you in tears. You wouldn't criticize them. You wouldn't tell them to get over it. You'd listen, hold space, maybe even offer a warm drink or a quiet hug. What if you gave yourself that same compassion in your darkest moments? By treating our emotions as natural rather than problems to be fixed, we allow them to soften. We recognize that everyone feels what we feel, that we are not broken, we are human. And this is where a deeper transformation begins. When we extend compassion outward to others who are also suffering, we deepen our sense of connection. Perhaps someone else is silently facing the same storm we're in. By seeing our own pain mirrored in others, we move from isolation to empathy, from why me to me too. This shared understanding becomes a powerful source of resilience. In moments of hardship, we're no longer trapped in a small story about our own suffering. Instead, we touch something larger, a collective human experience that opens the door to healing. Negative emotions can also be profound teachers. When we're willing to sit with them without judgment, we often discover what lies beneath. Anger may hide a wound, fear may reveal a longing for safety, envy may point to dreams we've silenced. Mindfulness helps us pause long enough to ask, what is this emotion trying to show me? And when we meet that answer with wisdom and compassion, we begin to heal not just the surface, but the roots. We stop treating emotions like enemies. We begin to see them as guides, messengers carrying lessons about our needs, our boundaries, our values, and our hidden beliefs. So, transforming negative emotions isn't about pretending to be happy all the time. It's about learning to relate to our emotions differently, with spaciousness, warmth, and clarity. We stop running from ourselves, and we start walking with ourselves, with honesty and care. After learning how to transform negative emotions with mindfulness and compassion, a deeper truth begins to surface. We cannot walk this path alone. In times of pain, confusion, or even joy, having a circle of support, a place to feel seen, heard, and accepted, becomes not just helpful, but essential. That's the gift of the Sangha. In Buddhism, the Sangha, the spiritual community, is one of the three jewels, alongside the Buddha and the Dharma. It is not simply a group of people, but a space of belonging, where we are welcomed as we are. No masks, no performances, just genuine connection. When we are surrounded by others who walk the same path, something within us softens. We no longer feel the burden of having to do everything ourselves. We feel understood because the people around us are also practicing, also struggling, also growing. This shared effort builds resilience. Just knowing I'm not alone in this brings deep comfort. The Sangha also offers a subtle but powerful sense of accountability. When our motivation fades, when doubt creeps in, or when life pulls us away from practice, it's our community that gently reminds us, come back. It's in the quiet encouragement of a friend, the presence of someone sitting beside us in meditation, the shared silence that says, we're in this together. This collective energy helps us stay grounded. It strengthens our intention. It keeps us aligned with our values, even in the face of adversity. Like a forest of trees leaning into each other during a storm, we grow stronger not just as individuals, but together. And within this community lies something else: shared wisdom. The Sangha becomes a living library of insights, experiences, and reflections. Whether through formal teachings, heartfelt conversations, or just practicing side by side, we gain access to the perspective of those who've walked before us and those walking right beside us. Sometimes a single word from a teacher can shift the direction of our practice. Sometimes a simple nod from a peer can rekindle hope when we feel lost. This is the quiet magic of being in community. We mirror and support one another, not by fixing each other, but by showing up. The Sangha doesn't just nurture individuals, it radiates outwards. Through collective acts of kindness, generosity, and presence, a compassionate community naturally begins to uplift its surroundings. Whether volunteering, supporting the vulnerable, or simply embodying peaceful presence, the Sangha becomes a force of healing in a fractured world. And so, cultivating community is not a luxury, it's a necessity. We need one another to thrive. We need places where wisdom is alive, where compassion is practiced, and where our hearts can rest and be nourished. Being held in a circle of trust gives us the courage to go deeper. It reminds us that the path of awakening is not a lonely mountain trail, but a shared journey where every voice matters. Now, with the support of community as our foundation, we turn to something equally vital: bringing mindfulness into the everyday moments of our modern lives, where the real transformation begins. After understanding the power of community in supporting our emotional and spiritual growth, we return now to our most immediate companion on the path, the present moment. Because no matter how strong our community may be, true transformation happens in the way we live each day, moment by moment. Mindfulness gives us the opportunity to deepen our connection to the here and now. Amidst the noise, pressure, and constant motion of modern life, it offers us something rare and precious: a pause, a breath, a chance to come home to ourselves. By practicing mindfulness in our daily activities, whether we're washing dishes, answering emails, or walking to the bus, we cultivate a steady inner calm. Even when life feels chaotic, our awareness can remain anchored. Like a mountain rooted in the earth, we learn to stay grounded while the winds of stress and urgency swirl around us. But mindfulness isn't only about our inner experience. When we bring it into our interactions with others, it becomes a powerful tool for connection. Imagine a conversation where you're truly listened to. No distractions, no interruptions, just presence. That kind of attention is rare and deeply healing. By being fully present with the people around us, we begin to listen more deeply, speak more honestly, and respond more thoughtfully. We notice not only the words they say, but the emotions behind them. And in doing so, we create space for real empathy and understanding to blossom. Misunderstandings soften, conflicts lose their heat, relationships deepen. This ripple effect doesn't stop with our personal lives. When mindfulness spreads through a group, a team, or a community, it begins to shape the culture. Meetings become more respectful. Families become more nurturing. Workplaces become more compassionate. Mindfulness plants the seeds for environments that are inclusive, cooperative, and kind. It's easy to think of mindfulness as something else we have to do. But at its heart, it's not another task to check off. It's a way of being, a way of approaching each moment with curiosity, presence, and acceptance. We're not trying to become someone different. We're simply learning to be more fully ourselves, right here, right now. When we eat mindfully, we taste more. When we breathe mindfully, we calm the nervous system. When we walk mindfully, even the path beneath our feet becomes sacred. Life stops rushing past us. We begin to see again the color of the leaves, the sound of the wind, the warmth of a shared smile. And in these small, ordinary moments, we begin to rediscover something profound. Peace doesn't have to wait for everything to be perfect. It's already available, hidden in plain sight, within the richness of the present moment. We explored how wisdom helps us see reality as it is, impermanent, interconnected, and ever-changing. Now, we turn to one of the deepest insights that Buddhist wisdom offers: interdependence. The understanding that we are not isolated fragments moving through the world alone, but deeply and intricately connected to one another. When we begin to see life through this lens, something profound happens. We naturally begin to feel more empathy. We understand that when someone else suffers, it affects us too. And when others thrive, their joy uplifts us as well. This recognition of interconnection gives rise to compassion and altruism, not out of obligation, but from the simple truth that our well-being is bound up with the well-being of others. Wisdom also teaches us to look directly at the nature of suffering, not to avoid it or cover it up. We begin to see that much of our emotional pain stems from familiar patterns: craving, aversion, and ignorance. The craving for things to be different than they are, the aversion to discomfort, the ignorance of our true nature. When we pause and investigate these patterns, not with judgment, but with courage and honesty, we begin to unravel them. We notice how we chase what we don't need, avoid what we should face, and forget the wisdom already living within us. Slowly, these deeply rooted habits begin to loosen their grip, and we find moments of genuine inner freedom. And here's something beautiful. As individuals begin to transform through wisdom, entire communities can begin to shift as well. Imagine a world where decisions, whether in families, workplaces, or governments, are guided not just by ambition, but by insight, where people slow down enough to listen, reflect, and act with awareness. By cultivating wisdom at a societal level, we foster environments that are not only more just, but more sustainable, compassionate, and cooperative. In essence, wisdom acts as a lantern on the path. It illuminates what was once hidden. It shows us our true motivations, reveals our blind spots, and helps us return again and again to clarity, compassion, and liberation. Through this journey together, we've walked through many teachings on mindfulness, compassion, impermanence, and now wisdom. These aren't abstract ideas to remember. They are practices to live, anchors to return to in the chaos and beauty of everyday life. Whether you're in a moment of stillness or in the middle of struggle, the path is always here. The breath is always here. The present moment is always inviting you home. And as we integrate these teachings into our days, let's remember the strength that comes from walking together. We don't walk alone. The support of community, of fellow seekers like you, is what makes this journey not only possible, but meaningful. May the wisdom we've explored together continue to shine in your heart. May it inspire your words, your actions, and your way of being. May it ripple outward into your family, your community, and the world. And now, dear friend, I have a warm invitation for you. If this journey has touched something in you, even in a small way, I invite you to become part of our growing circle here at Buddhism Seeds. When you subscribe to the channel, you're not just following videos, you're joining a global community of thoughtful, curious, and compassionate individuals who are committed to personal growth and spiritual insight. Click the subscribe button below, give this video a like, and share it with someone who may need these teachings. Your support helps spread wisdom further and helps Buddhism Seeds reach new hearts around the world. Let's grow together. Let's live wisely, love deeply, and walk forward mindfully.